Well, we got another free scooter. These free scooters keep falling in my lap somehow, but you know, I'll take them. So this one is actually a 2006 Honda Metropolitan. These are supposed to be pretty good scooters. In my area, they typically go for about 1,500 bucks. At least the earlier models like this one. You can see the date right there stamped on it, 12/6. So it is in fact a 2006. So this one I actually got from a subscriber. He reached out to me and he said he had this thing sitting in his garage for the last 10 years. He said his daughter used to ride it in college and it started having issues. So that's when they parked it and bought her a car. So he said he took it to the local mechanic to get it fixed so he could sell it. And the local mechanic said that it would be $1,000 to fix it. And the guy was like, no, I'm not paying $1,000 for a $1,500 machine. So he just let it sit for the past 10 years. And I guess he saw my video, reached out to me, and he said, I just want to hear this thing run again. If you can get it running, you can have it for free. So he wanted to see the video of this thing running. So all we have to do today is get this thing running and driving, and we can have it for free. I'm sure he would give it to me even if I couldn't get it running and driving, but we're going to try our best to see if we can fix this scooter today. So it looks to be in really, really good condition. You know, all the plastics look good. We can probably buff that out and get rid of some of these scratches on there. But no broken plastics, the blinkers are all there. No rips in the seat, original Honda seat on there. And I think there's 16,099 miles, so pretty low mileage for a scooter. Right now, it does not turn on at all. I'm guessing the battery's out of it. He didn't really know too much about it, other than it started having issues, and then his daughter just parked it and got the car. So, bit of a mystery, but we're gonna figure it out today and see if we can get this one up, running and driving by the end of the video. So, let's get this one off the trailer, start digging into it. Alright, we got this thing in the garage. I don't know if I've ever worked on one of these before. If I have, it was a long, long time ago. So, let's start digging into it, and we'll kind of go through the whole thing. See if we can get this thing to run. So apparently there was an underlying issue with it that the guy couldn't figure out. I don't know if he's very mechanically inclined. Could be as simple as a spark plug or bad gas. So, we'll start digging into it. Let's start by checking the oil here. I don't know if that's ever been checked. Alright, let's see if we can get her to come. Holy cows. Okay. Smells like gas. It's really thin. That definitely needs replacing. It's really, really thin. Smells like gas. It's filled up all the way. That definitely needs changing. I wonder if there's something going on with the carb. Alright, to get the seat off of this one, push the key in. Pops open. Got the owner's manual for it. Got the battery cover here. A mirror. A couple little plastic pieces. It looks like the battery actually goes right down in here. Let's see. A couple fuses in there too. So you've got the negative. We've got this blue yellow wire. Typically that would be like a solenoid, wouldn't it? I'm not seeing the red. Oh, it's right here. So that gets connected right to the battery. So we are going to quick test all the fuses, then hook up a jumper pack to it and see if anything happens here. Alright, we should hear a beep on each of the fuses here. Let's see. Beep. Good. 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 Check the spare. Good. So all the fuses are good. Alright, turn this on. I hear the pump going. The lights are on. Tail light's working. See about the blinkers? Cool. Left side. Now the right side. Alright. Headlight. I think that comes on when you start the machine. Get the gauge lights working. Let's see if electric start works. It's just clicking. So it looks like the starter is kind of just clicking. It went periodically there. You could hear it go really slow. But it could be the relay in here that's bad. We're going to take off the compartment there and see if we can get to that starter. See where these wires lead to. I don't know if a wire is pulled out of here or what. Let's check. I don't think so. Alright. The jumper pack was kind of hooked up janky. Let's see if it starts now. So starter's working now. I think the positive was kind of clicking on and off in there. So that relay probably wasn't working. But now, you hit the start button. Turns over just fine. So electric start does work. Alright, so all the lights work, electric start works, everything's working good. So we're off to a pretty good start here. We can go ahead and get this whole cubby out. These come off here. Should pull out of here. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with here. Coil is right there. Connections are tight on the coil. We've got the ground and the positive wire coming to it. Spark plug's hooked up. Just checking over all these connectors here, making sure nothing's unplugged. Those all look good. Yeah, everything looks pretty decent. We're going to go ahead and get the plastic off here as well, and then I believe this one can come off as well. We'll take that up too. So the floorboard and this piece of plastic, I want to see if we're getting any gas to the pump. whole piece came off. So this machine is liquid cooled, just like the Honda Ruckus. So here is where the coolant radiator is. So get this cover off of here. And it's topped off in there. So that looks good. So we've got the carb here. We've got the electric choke right here. And then the spark plug is down there. And then gas tank is right here. So let's take a look inside the gas tank, see if there's any gas in here. Alright, let's see. Okay, looks pretty clear. No rust in the gas tank at all. Gas looks a little old though. And when you turn this thing on, we could hear the pump going. We have to confirm that it's actually pumping gas though. But there is gas in it, so we can test that out. So what we're gonna do is unhook the gas line going to the carb. I just want to see if it's getting fuel. Alright, this is basically the same design as the Ruckus. You've got the gas tank in the floor, and yep, there's a pump right down there. So it's the exact same. I wonder if it's the exact same pump too. I'm sure it is. Why wouldn't Honda just use the same parts if they had them around? Let's just take a look. Yeah, it looks like the same exact pump in there. So you can see right down in there. So gas line going up comes up through here. Follow that to here. So it's the white and black line going to the carb right here. There we go. Gas line is off. So now what we're going to do is hook up a battery to it and see if we're getting gas pumping out of here. Put this cup here. No gas is pumping. Huh. I don't see anything happening. That could be the problem. Nothing's pumping. Are we sure this is the gas line? Yeah, what the heck? That's weird. I can hear the pump going. Maybe it's not getting any gas to the pump. Alright, very, very odd. Let's see if this is clogged in here. Oh, is it kinked? Oh, it does look like it's kinked. This line is kinked. Huh. I cannot believe that's the problem. Look at this. This line going to the filter right there kinks when you set it down. Oh, look at that. There's a little piece for the floor rest. That plastic piece right there. Maybe that's what's kinking it. Let's get that out. So these were underneath the tank. So somebody must have been working on it before and probably checked the exact same thing I'm checking. So I think that's what kinked that gas line though. You know, maybe that wasn't the initial problem, but maybe that caused another one. So we're gonna cut a new piece of gas line and route that in there. I think that line is already collapsed, so it just bends right in half when you put the gas tank down. But we're gonna lift up the gas tank and just see if anything pumps out. All right, let's lift the gas tank, get rid of that kink, and see if anything pumps. Okay, holding the gas tank up. Oh yeah, look at the gas pumping out now. Aha, so pump is working. Let's see if I try to start it. Yeah, it's pumping pretty good. All right, so that was the problem. There's a kinked gas line. Let's fill it up a little bit more. I want to see what that gas looks like. It looks a little dark, doesn't it? That should be good. Yeah, it's not too bad. I don't see any water in the gas or anything. All right, we got the gas line rerouted. Let's see if it pumps out now. Hopefully we're good. All right, turn this thing to on. Should start pumping. Yep. Let's just see if it continues to pump. And then one more time. Yeah, it's pumping good. All right, that's working perfect. So we fixed that problem. We can leave that off for now. All right, let's get the plug off of here. See if this is on here okay. Absolutely zero wire exposed there. So that's not good. We're gonna cut that back a little bit. I can't see any wire in there at all. So that could be another problem. We probably should have tested the spark before we cut that. Yeah, I think that maybe was another problem. I don't see a single strand of wire in there. This is what it should look like. There's the wire. All right, just inspect the boot here. Looks good. All right, get that back on. All right. Now, let's get that plug out. It's not loose in there. Let's see what that looks like. A little sticky in there. Looks like it was running pretty decent. It's a little black. NGK CR8EH. It doesn't look too bad. Alright, are we getting spark? Is the next question here. See if it sparks. Here we go. I'd say that's pretty good spark. Kind of sounds like the starter is about to go on here. Got a very consistent, nice blue spark. So, I don't think that's a problem. And it may not have been sparking, you know, because that wire wasn't even hitting the boot. But I should have probably tested for spark before we took that off, so we could have known if that was a potential problem. Alright, compression gauge going in. Like I said before, we need at least 100 psi. It looks like it's got the same problem as the Ruckus. The gauge threads aren't long enough to get in there. Let's take the O-ring off. With the Honda Ruckus we worked on, we were able to get like one thread to twist in. Right there. Alright, so this probably won't be the most accurate, but we're going to do throttle open, and we'll see what we get. Hopefully the starter continues to work. Here we go. Throttle open. Alright, that's pretty darn good. Like 155 psi. That's really good. So compression checks out. Plenty of compression. So we've got good spark, we have compression, and we're getting fuel to the carb. So the last check is the actual carb. Let's see if fuel's actually getting into the carb and into the engine. So we've got this guy comes undone, the automatic choke comes off. And then clamp for the intake piece going to the air filter, which we still have to check. This should pull out of here. There's two lines for the coolant below here as well. We're going to take those off. They've got clamps on them. Coolant passes through the carb there. Ooh, that one's ripped. That could be another issue there. So remind me to change that line. That one was ripped. And then here's this one. Get that one off. There we go. And our gas line. And she's pretty much off except for the throttle here. Carb is free. I see some gas leaking from it. It looks like the automatic choke is missing a screw there as well. Huh. So that maybe was a problem too. Wasn't bolted down. So that could definitely affect the running of it. But we'll tear apart the carb, take a look, and see what's going on with that. Alright, before we start taking a look at the carb, let's check out the air box. See if there's an air filter in here. One more. Oh yeah. We can blow that out. Doesn't look horrible though. So that locks in place there. Airbox looks really clean. And it's imperative that this airbox is perfect, because this thing won't run right unless it's perfect. So it's good that we have all the components for that. All right, let's open this guy up, take a peek. Get lots of gas coming out of it. The pilot jet has to be clogged. It actually looks pretty clean. There's some gross stuff there. It's not horrible though. I was expecting a lot worse. Really doesn't look bad at all. Huh. See if our float comes out. Pin came out. Needle looks good. Float looks good. Take a look at our pilot here, which I assume is clogged. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's really clogged. It's a 35 pilot. Can't see through it at all. So that was probably the main problem, along with the kinked gas line. Here's the main. That was clear. It's a 72 main. It does have some gunk in there though, you can see it. So that definitely needs to be cleaned too. Overall, not horrible. You've got your little fuel screw right here. Screw. We are about 2 turns out on the fuel screw. Spring. That looks good. Looking for any cracks or rips in the diaphragm. Now that all looks good. Needle looks pretty decent. We're going to clean that up a little bit. So overall, carb looks pretty good. Alright, so we're going to blow through that with compressed air, a little carb cleaner, and get this thing back together. Alright, we're working on the automatic choke. We want to test and make sure that this is working properly. So I've been over this in past videos with the Honda Ruckus, which has the same exact choke. But what this does is, in the standing off position, this little piston moves up and down, and right now it's all the way up. So choke is fully on in the off position. When you add power to it, this is going to move down very, very slowly, and this will move down into a passageway in the carb and block off fuel flow, causing the choke to go off, which is what we want. If this is not working, your machine's going to be very boggy, and it's going to run like the choke is on all the time. So it won't run properly. So what we're going to do is hook up power to it, negative and positive going to the 2 prongs in here, and this is going to slowly move out. If it doesn't, we know we have a problem with it. So here we go. I don't want to touch the positive and negative together here. So it should slowly, so this is slowly going to move out. It takes a very long time. see how that's coming out. You can actually see the bottom of it being exposed. So that is working. So this will probably sit like right there when it's fully closed. So this is working properly. All right, we got the carb bowl and carb body all cleaned out. We are going to clean out this pilot next. So sticking this through there. Can't quite see through it yet. All right, carb is all cleaned out, ready to go back onto the bike. All right, we've got the carb back on, looking good. Let's get a battery in. Second to fit. Yep. All right. There we go. All right, let's do a quick oil change on this thing. You can see the drain bolt is right there. I believe that's 17 millimeter. So let's get that out, drain the oil. I'm not sure on the capacity, there's no marking on the case, but I'm guessing it's close to about 1 quart. Yep, 17 millimeter. Oh. Look at all the gas that was in there. Holy cow. That is really thin. Wow. So here's the old oil. You can see the viscosity is basically that of water. I mean, that's a lot of gas mixed in with that oil. So, yeah, good thing we're changing it. All right, we're gonna put about a quart in and check it. All right, we're just using 10W40. Get some of that going in. We're going to let this settle, and then what we're going to do is try to fire it up and then check the oil after that. Alright, so we've got good spark, good compression, we've got gas pumping to the carb, and now the carb's cleaned out, so this thing should fire up. The guy that gave it to me said that there was other issues with it, so I'm hoping it was just running out of gas from that kink gas line. See if she fires up here. I'm gonna pump it up a couple times. Instantly fired up. Let's see if it revs out though. The tail light's blinking for some reason. That's weird. Never seen that before. revving out, but is that as fast as it goes? Seems like it's not revving very high. Maybe that's as fast as this thing goes. Seems a little boggy to me. Really boggy. I took the boot off the carb and it's like spitting gas all over the place. Look down in here. You can see there's a bunch of gas. The carb is really wet, so it's getting choked out for sure. I wonder if we're not getting power to the automatic choke right here. See that? Lots of gas. Yeah. This thing is getting way too much gas. Alright, we stole the automatic choke off the Ruckus. So let's replace that. Alright, pulled one off. It looks like that was working though, because you can see the difference between the needles right now. So that one's extended. That one's not right now, so I think it was working because this will slowly come back down. Let's see if she revs up now. Yeah, it's still doing the same thing. It's not revving out all the way, it's boggy. And I put my fingers over the intake and it just is full of gas. So something's gotta be wrong in the carb. Alright, just noticed that that boot right here connecting to the intake is really loose. And it's as tight as that clamp can go. See that? It's pretty loose on there. We're taking some brake cleaner, we're gonna spray around there and see if the idle changes. See how that idle changes? I think there's an air leak. So we can almost kill it. See? So there's definitely an air leak right there. That could be the problem. We're going to take that off. The The bolt right here on that clamp is stripped out, so we're gonna have to take off the whole carb to get that out. All right, we had to cut off the old clamp there. We got a new one on, tightened up. Let's see if that fixes our problem here. Nope. Still really boggy. Let's see if there's an air leak. There's still an air leak there. I wonder if that boot's ripped. Alright, here's the boot. I'm not seeing any breaks. There's a little bit of damage to the inside. So maybe it's not clamping down properly. I don't know. I think what we're going to do is just swap over the whole Ruckus carb into this one. Swap them out and see what happens. Alright, we got the new boot on. Let's get the new carb on. So this is off of the Ruckus here. Alright, new carb is on. We're going to check for air leaks. And we're going to check and see if this thing revs out completely. So here we go. Turn this on. Carb has to get filled up with gas. That definitely sounds better. So it's revving out completely. That's how it should sound. See how it revs out completely? Yeah, that new carb and boot fixed the problem. Let's see if we have an air leak. Yeah, no air leak. So something in the carb or the boot fixed the problem. So what we're gonna do is keep the boot on there and then put the old carb back on. See if it was the boot the whole time. All right, so we put the old carb back in with the new boot. Let's see if this fixes our problem. it wasn't the boot, it's still really boggy. So we are going to tear each carb down side by side and look and see what the differences are. Alright, tearing into the old carb here. Let's check the jetting again. I believe it was a 72 on the main. Alright, now we'll open the carb that actually does work. See, we're running for the main in here. Plenty of gas in there. Alright. So the main on this one is a 72. This is the carb that does not want to run properly. And the main on this one is a 75. Huh. Well, that could be the problem right there. So this one's a 75 that runs good, but it seemed like we were getting too much fuel, not too little. That doesn't make any sense. I gotta see what the pilot is. This one's a 35, and I believe it was a 35 in the other one too. We'll check. So it can't be that. Yep, 35. So the only difference I see so far is the main jet being 3 sizes off. Let's see if the float height is about even on here. Yeah, I mean, pretty darn close. Diaphragm springs back evenly. Let's see if this one does. Yep, it's about the same. So what if we just swap the mains over and see if that changes anything? Alright, we've got the old carb with the updated 75 main. Let's see if that works. Well, that was the problem. I don't know how. Did the owner change the jet in here? Like, what the heck? It runs a lot better with that jet. Sounds really good. Well, at least we found the problem. We're gonna start it up one more time, make sure it's all good to go, and then we can start putting everything back together. Well, with the air box hooked up, it still runs kind of boggy. but with it off, it runs a lot better. So when I had the other carb on with the air box, it was still running good. So I still think there's an issue going on. All right, right now it's revving out completely with the air box off. But watch this right here. Look at all the gas spraying out of the carb. That's all gas spraying out, so something's still going on with it. All right, let's see if replacing the float needle fixes the problem. All right, we're gonna put the other carb back in and see if it is a little different. It still seems like it's boggy to me. That's with the air box on, air box off. Alright, we're putting all the old parts back into the carb we know works. And I was taking out the needle here. And check out the seat here. So this is the carb that floods out and sprays gas out the back when you rev it out. Look how big that hole is in the seat. And let me go over to the carb that works. Check how tiny that hole is. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but that's one difference in the carbs there. So I wonder if that seat in here is just really worn out. All right, we have the carb from the Ruckus back on here. Listen to this, it revs out a lot better. The air box is on right now. Yeah, so something's going on with that carb. I'm thinking that seat's worn, because that hole is way bigger than the other seat. So we might just have to order up a new carb, call it a day, because that's really the only difference I can see. We swapped over jets, we swapped over the choke mechanism, and the diaphragm looked perfect. So yeah, I think it just needs a new carb. That one revs out great. So we're gonna run it with this carb, put everything back together, and see how fast we can get this thing to go. All right, this thing's all back together. We took a little time, cleaned it up a little bit. There's a spot right here when I try to get off. It's pretty good. All right, let's see if it fires up. Headlights working. This thing is running flawlessly. Not a single issue. Every single thing is working perfectly on it. So first ride went great. This thing goes about 32 miles an hour. And I looked up, stock it's supposed to go 32 to 35. With modifications it can maybe go 40. So we're right in that range. We're perfect. It's revving out completely, idling perfectly. All the lights work, brakes both work. It is perfect. So I'm thinking what happened was that the carburetor seat went bad and it lost a lot of the power. So the seller's daughter probably couldn't even make it over a hill, and that's why she parked it and bought a car. I think that was the main culprit. The other culprit, and I think that the reason this thing wasn't starting is because of the kink gas line down below. So a combination of those two things caused this machine not to run and not to run right. So we fixed those two things and it's running perfect. So this one's all fixed up. And now we get to keep this one for free since we got it running and driving. So hopefully the guy that gave me this for free is watching the video and is smiling behind the screen knowing that we got this one fixed up. So the dealership was going to charge him $1,000 and we got this fixed in less than a day. So it wasn't too bad. Definitely worth going through it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed picking up this 2007 Honda Metropolitan, diagnosing it, getting it to run, and then taking it for the first ride. This one's all fixed up, good to go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. And until next time, we are out.